Since you, most cruel, wish all tongues to proclaim, all men to know the harsh power of your will, I will have hell itself teach a mournful song to my grieving breast, then add to that discord with the stridency of this my tuneless voice. And, companion to my desire as it strives to tell of my sorrow and your heartless deeds, that fearful voice will resound. Worse torment, it will carry pieces of my wretched heart. Listen, then, to no harmonious song, but to the clangor rising from the depths of my embittered breast, and borne by frenzy, sounding to my delight and your displeasure. The roar of the lion, the fearful howling of the savage wolf, the terrible hisses of the scaly serpent, the ghastly shrieks of monsters, the portents of the raven's croak, the din of winds battling unsettled seas, the great bull's vengeful bellow in defeat, the widowed turtle dove's heartbroken call, the grief-stricken hooting of the envied owl, and the cries of all the souls in darkest hell. Let these join with my spirit in its grief, blending in song, confounding all the senses, for the merciless anguish I endure demands new modes, new stylings for its recounting. The wailing echoes of this dissonance will not be heard on sands of Father Tejo or in the Andalusian olive groves. My heartless agony will be carried by a dead man's tongue in words that will survive him to craggy heights or bottomless ravines, to darkened valleys, to some hostile shore bare of human commerce, or to places where the sunlight ne'er was seen, or to the hordes of ravening toxic beasts that live and thrive on the Libyan plain. For though in desert wastes the hoarse, uncertain echoes of my ills may sound with unmatched harshness like your own, as a privilege of my destiny cut short, they will be carried all around the world. Disdain can kill, suspicions true or false can bring down patience, and jealousy slays with grim ferocity. Long absence can confound a life. Feared oblivion defeats the surest hope for a life of happiness. In all this, certain death cannot be fled, but I, oh wondrous miracle, I live on jealous, absent, disdained, and certain of suspicions that fell me, forgotten by one for whom I burn with ever hotter flame, and in so much torment I can never see even the shadow of hope that in despair I do not attempt to find, rather to carry my woe to the furthest extreme. I vow eternally to live bereft of hope. Can one feel hope at the same time fear? Or is it wise to do so when the reasons for fear are so much stronger? Must I then close these eyes when flint-hard jealousy appears before them, only to watch it tear 1,000 open wounds deep in my soul? Who would not open wide the door to despair when he sees disdain undisguised laid bare, when he sees all his suspicions, oh bitter transformation, converted into truths, and honest truth transmuted into lies? O jealousy, in the kingdom of love a pitiless tyrant, place these hands in chains, and condemn me, disdain, to be bound in twisted rope. But woe is me when in your memory, O cruelest triumph, my suffering is smothered and erased. I die, and so that I may never hope for a good end in my death or life, I will be steadfast in my vagaries. Say that true love is bound to succeed. Say the soul most enslaved to the ancient tyranny of love lives most free. Say that my enemy is beautiful in body and in soul, that I bear the flame for her forgetting me, that love inflicts these sorrows and these ills to keep his realm in order and at peace. With this thought and a merciless, cruel scourge, I will slash and cut the brief time left to me by your disdain, and offer to the winds this soul and body, uncrowned by the palm of laurel of fortune, bliss, and joy to come. You, whose unreason shows the reason clear, that forces me to end this weary life grown hateful to me, can see the patent size of the fatal wound that cuts this heart in two, and how I bend submissive to your will. And if, by chance, you learn that I deserve to have clouds fill the fair sky of your eyes when you hear of my death, forbid it, for I want you unrepentant, without remorse, when I hand to you the ruins of my soul. And then your laughter at that grievous time will show my end was cause for your rejoicing. What lack of wit to caution you in this, when I know your brightest glory lies in seeing that my life draws so quickly to its close. Come, it is time for Tantalus to rise, with all his thirst from the abysmal deeps. Let Sisyphus come, bearing the awful weight of that dread stone. Let Tydeus bring the vultures, let Ixion hasten on the remorseless wheel, and the grim sisters ceaseless at their toil. May they pass their mortal torments to my breast, and in hushed voices let them sadly chant, if one in despair deserves such obsequies. Songs to a body not yet in its shroud, and the three-faced guardian of the gates of hell, chimeras, monsters by the thousands, let them intone the dolorous counterpoint, for there can be no better funeral rite than this, I think, for one who dies of love. Song of despair, do not weep at leaving me, since that will swell the joy of one who is the reason for your birth and my misfortune. Do not grieve for me, even in the grave.